and welcome to the Home Assistant How-To with Bearded Tinker. This is now a second part of the video in regard to Reolink cameras. So stick around and we'll start in a couple of seconds. Disclaimer: this video is not paid promotion, but I did receive those two cameras, RLC 410 5 megapixel and RLC 520, and as always, before we go into the details, I want to thank all the members who have joined my channel. Thank you very much, your support means really a lot. And now let's look where we left and what we will be doing today. In the previous video, we covered unboxing of the cameras. I covered also some basic setup for the cameras. We went through the configuration of them. Then we installed Surveillance Station for all those that have Synology but do not use Surveillance Station. We integrated the cameras using two options. One was the original Reolink integration and the other one was using the ONVIF integration. So stick around and see how it looks inside Home Assistant. Warning: a lot of the same pictures on the camera. We can close this. Let's go back to Home Assistant. And in Home Assistant, go to Configuration, Integrations, and make sure that your Synology has been added. And in Surveillance Station, as you can see, we have 6 devices and 48 entities, but I do not think that system itself did pull latest information from the Synology. If we look at the options, it says that it is doing scans every 15 minutes and timeout is 10 seconds. I will leave it like this for a couple of minutes until the system itself refreshes. And now we have 7 devices in Synology, and if we check here, we can see that we have 2 cameras plus Surveillance Station. Surveillance Station can be used to trigger if the Surveillance Station is in the home mode or away mode. We'll not be covering this one, but one of the examples you could do here is create automation when there is nobody home. Turn this switch to away mode. Let's add cameras. Let's go to Overview. Let's create new dashboard. Cameras. Save. And let's add here picture entity. First will be camera 1. We can see the status of the camera, it's idle. Okay, let's save this. And let's also add camera 2. Picture entity. Camera 2. Also idle. Camera 2, and let's save. So we now have here 2 cameras, and you can create, if you have multiple cameras, a dashboard where you see all your cameras at one place. Okay, so we now covered on how you can add Reolink cameras if you are using Synology and Surveillance Station. But what if you are not using Synology? What if you are just having Home Assistant? How do you do that? Well, it is much more simpler, but you can lose some of the functionality in one of the cases. Let's first cover the basic one. And in order to do that, let's go to Configuration, Integrations. I already have here 1 camera. Let me add a new one. Okay. Will be camera 1, 192.168.1.119, and the port, if you remember, was 8000. Let's submit. Username I've left default. Press finish. Okay, and let's add the camera 2, plus sign, ONVIF, submit, camera 2, 192.168.1.111, and the port once again for this camera is 8000. Submit. Username again default. Submit.
finish. Okay, so now we have additional two cameras besides these two that are from Synology. For any user that doesn't have Synology or any other network video recorder on NVR, he can use the ONVIF integration. Let's see what the device is. Camera 1, and we have two entities. It's just, I think, mainstream and substream. Okay, let's go back to overview. Let's go to cameras and let's add those new cameras here. So once again, we will be using picture entity, camera. So this is the new one called camera profile 0 mainstream. Okay, I'll put like that, save. And let's add picture entity, save. So these two are feed from the surveillance station, and these two, when they load, they will be feed from the cameras directly. Let's check here. We can select live, save, and live here also, live, and live here. As you can see, there is a difference in terms of the delay. This one is a little bit behind this one, and this one is at least 1 or 2 seconds behind this one. So direct communication with the camera using the ONVIF protocol can be much better than using surveillance station, but you do lose some functionality, for example, motion detection. So let's cover up the third option for you to install Reolink cameras inside Home Assistant.
Hey, hold on. I have two cameras. Do I really need two cameras? For the recording purposes, at the end I really need only one camera. So as I need only one camera for any additional recordings I will be making, I was thinking, well, maybe I could have a giveaway. For more information about this giveaway, please see the description of the video, and you can also find it on my Discord server. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button so you do not miss any such opportunity in the future. Thank you very much.
If you are using Docker version, you can do it by following my guide for motionEye. On the other hand, if you are using supervised version, what you can do is you can go to Supervisor, Add on Store, and here we will find motionEye and install it. For most of the users that do not run Synology and that are using a supervised version of Home Assistant, this can be the easiest way to add cameras to your configuration. What we have to do is we have to click on Show in Sidebar and Start. And the motionEye is up. Let's open up web page for the motionEye. And default username is admin. Let's log in. We have no camera set up. Let's add new one. We will select network camera. We have to type here the URL rtsp, as we will be using rtsp. Then the IP address 192.168.1.119. This is my first camera. We have to add rtsp port. It's 554. And here we also have to type in following path. So it's H264 preview 01 main. Let's select username, and here we can select TCP or UDP. And we have image here. Of course, we can change the video resolution. I'll put here custom one. It will be 2304 1296. This is the standard resolution for this Reolink camera. Okay, so we have a couple of options here. For video streaming, if we want to add this to the Home Assistant, we can now use snapshot URL. This is the URL that will be pushed to the Home Assistant. We have streaming URL if we want to pull this stream somewhere else, and we also have embed URL for this specific camera. And now let's add additional camera. This is camera 2, same thing, network camera, rtsp 192.168.1.111, port 554, and the path is same as before, H264 preview 01 main. You also have option to use a substream. Substream will result in that motionEye. In this case, we do not pull the highest available definition or highest available quality of the stream, but we'll pull much smaller stream. This of course means a lower resolution, but also means a less burden on your network. Let's type here admin. Let's select UDP and OK. We should now have 2 cameras. And of course, for the camera 2, we can also change the resolution from the 640 480 to 2304 1296. Let's apply. And the streams are now loading. And for this camera 2, you can also check the video streaming, snapshot URL, streaming URL, and embed URL. You can here, if you want, activate additional functionalities, for example still images, how they are formatted. You can select movies, how the movies are recorded, either recorded based on the motion triggered or continuous recording. And here are both of those cameras working. Unfortunately, my system here is underpowered for this, so I will be removing this integration. Supervisor, motionEye, and uninstall. This recording setup is very limited in terms of resources, and I cannot have both Synology, Home Assistant, all the plugins, Surveillance Station plus motionEye running at the same time. So we covered on how to integrate Reolink cameras with the Surveillance Station and pull that video inside Home Assistant. Next we covered the ONVIF integration, how you can directly connect cameras with Home Assistant. There is also a third option, which I'll be covering a little bit later on, but before that let's go to HACS. Let's go to integrations. There is a custom-made component that you can install if you are using HACS. For that we have to click here, go to custom repositories, add the URL, select integration, and let's press add. We now have Reolink IP camera. Let's install it. And for this integration to work, we need to restart Home Assistant. Configuration, server control, check configuration, and restart. I hope that you liked this video so far, and if you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up, because it means really a lot, both to me and to channel. Thank you. Okay, so Home Assistant is still booting up, but we will go to File Editor and we will open our configuration YAML file. Okay, first let me try and see if I have cameras already here. Yes, we do have cameras. These are from the motionEye previously. Let's add here new camera. platform this time will be Reolink Dev. This is the HACS integration we just added. Reolink Dev. We need to add host. Host is the IP address 192.168.1.1.19. You have to define username. For me, this is the default one. Password for me is blank one. And we will give it a name. And this one we will be calling HACS camera 1. We now have some options. First one will be stream. You can put here either main or sub. Default is main, and the difference is, as I mentioned previously, on the quality of the stream. Main will be full resolution, full quality, and sub will be, let's call it like that, limited or lower resolution. Let's put here main. Then we have option of protocol. Here you can use either rtsp or rtmp, and default is rtmp. Next you can select channel. This is used for the network video recorder. Default is 0, so I will not be putting it here. And the last one will be scan interval. And it will be 10. Default is 30 seconds. Let's save this and let's see if my binary sensors are here. No, my binary sensors are in external file. So let's open binary sensors and we will be adding a new binary sensor. And we already have platform template here, so I will be adding a new one here. It will be called motion camera 1. Friendly name will be HACS camera 1 motion. Device class motion. And here we will define also the value template. Is state camera, and we must use the same name we used previously, so it will be HACS camera 1. This is the name of the camera we created previously. I forgot to put here single quote, and we will add here once again single quotes and inside motion. Let's close this bracket and let's close those brackets. So we now have a value template created. Delay of seconds 30. So means that after 30 seconds it will be turned off. Motion camera 1. Friendly name HACS camera 1 motion. Device class is motion. Value template is state camera dot HACS underscore camera underscore 1. Let's save this, because in the previous file, and for that let's go to configuration YAML file. We added camera with the name HACS camera 1. So this is why our name of the camera should be camera.hacs underscore camera underscore 1. And there are other sensors you can create. At this point I will not be creating any more sensors, but I will leave a link in the description for the GitHub repository where you can see all the other options for the sensor. For example, to trigger email, FTP, infrared lights on the camera, or to have a switch with the motion detection. Let's go to configuration, server control, and let's restart. Let's go to overview, cameras, and let's add the one camera we just added. Plus sign. HACS save. So this is from the Synology, this is from the ONVIF configuration, and this is from the custom component. Let's just select here live also. And there is also option for you to have one additional way of integrating it. It's a simple method. Let's go to File Editor. Let's go to Cameras here. And for this we will be using FFmpeg camera integration. So let's start typing. Platform FFmpeg. Name will be FFmpeg camera 1. And here we need to input the URL. Let's call this the hardest version of the URL. Okay, so rtsp transport. It should be TCP. And here we now have to type in the rtsp stream. So rtsp, your username, so it's admin. Column. Here should go the password, but we do not have it. This could potentially be an issue. Now let's type in the IP address 192.168.1.119 with the port 554. This is the rtsp port as we typed in previously also in motionEye. And once again the same URL, it's h264 preview 01. Let's type here main. We'll be pulling once again the main stream. While we are here, I can copy this and create the same thing for the other camera. This will be camera 2, same thing, same username and the IP address, and everything should be exactly the same. Let's save this. Let's go to configuration, server control, check configuration, and let's restart our Home Assistant, hopefully for the last time today. Okay, let's go to Overview, Cameras, Edit Dashboard, plus sign, and we can create 2 additional cameras. Camera 1, Camera 1, live stream, save, and Camera 2, Camera 2, and live save. Couple of days later, here is the result of my tinkering. I apologize, some of the cameras didn't load up as I'm really pushing my system to the limits. So let me do a quick recap of what's going on here. These 2, okay, this was my dog. These 2 are the Synology cameras done through the surveillance station. These 2 are done through the ONVIF integration. Here we have 2, a dog again. Here we have 2 of the cameras that are done through the HACS component, for custom component. You may notice that those 2 have additional things down below, additional entities. So this one is triggered saying that there is currently a motion detected, and that's correct because we are printing something. This one indicates that the ER light is turned on. You can turn it off if you want. And this symbol here represents that the camera has motion detection enabled. When you change the state, it takes a bit for the camera to reload, so don't worry about that. So these 2 are HACS. And as you can see now, the ER light is turned off. What we have here, so FFmpeg, these 2 cameras here, but I also added one more integration, and this is the rtsp integration. So let's go inside the file editor and see what's going on with the cameras themselves. So this is the file editor, and I tidy up a bit this part here. So we now have two custom components, Reolink. Then we have two FFmpeg, these here. And these last ones that I added here are generic cameras using the rtsp as a stream for the camera. And they are also pulling the static image using this URL. If you want to copy and adapt this to your own needs, you can find this on my recording GitHub repository, and I will also be providing a link for that in the description of the video too. More or less we covered, I would say, almost all aspects of the integration for Reolink cameras inside Home Assistant. Of course, there is also Blue Iris, but I will not be covering that. And of course, there are other options for the software, such as ZoneMinder, and unfortunately I didn't have enough time, but I do promise to make a separate video for Home Assistant running in a Docker, where I will be showing you how to implement ZoneMinder. I use that system again on a Linux machine for more than 10 years. If you want to improve how this looks, you of course have option of going to HACS, front end, and here there is something called Surveillance card. By using this specific front-end card or add-on card, you will be able to mimic how usual NVR systems, for example the Synology Surveillance Station, looks. And if you have multiple cameras, they will be cycled between the images every couple of seconds, depending on the settings here. Also, if you're able to pull the motion information from the camera, you can do something else and use this command here, focus motion, to move focus to the stream that currently has some motion on it. If there is a need or wish, send me a message and I'll record it in a separate video. So back to where we are. I still have idea for additional video, and this will be detailed video in regard to the HACS custom component. And in my opinion, HACS custom component for Reolink cameras is first option, especially if you do not have Surveillance Station running on Synology. If you do, then you could probably say that those two are my first option. One thing that you cannot do so easily in a surveillance station is control those options and receive data about motion from the camera itself or from the surveillance station, but there is a workaround for that. If you're interested, drop me a line and I'll be recording a separate video in regard to improving your surveillance station configuration, something that I use myself. And before we end this video, there is one additional thing I would like to show you, and this is how you insert the SD card inside your Reolink camera. So here it goes.
I did mention the SD card slot, but we never did cover where the SD card slot is. So if we look at this camera, micro SD slot card is here. You just have to unscrew those two screws. On this camera, you have to position head like this, and the micro SD card slot is here. Unscrew those two screws here and just insert the card. And this is it for this Home Assistant how-to with Bearded Thinker, where we covered Reolink integrations, various integrations. I will be also making a third, maybe even the fourth video, but they will not be directly related and they will be, let's call it that, rounded and covering only one subject. So if you do not want to miss that videos too, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so you get notified on future updates. And of course, if you have any kind of comment or a question, you can always find me on the Discord server, but feel free also to ask anything down in the comment section. And this is it for today. Until the next time, bye bye and have fun!